I'm Celeste, 32, driving through the quiet streets of suburban Ohio, my heart racing with excitement for a 2-week work trip to Seattle. The radio hums low, a country song fading into static as I pass rows of tidy houses, their porches glowing under the soft haze of late summer dusk. I'd just left the train station, my suitcase rattling in the trunk, the weight of a new project buzzing in my mind. But I forgot my passport at home, a careless slip that pulls me back. The house should be empty, Nathan at work, his accounting firm keeping him late again. I pull into our driveway, gravel crunching under my tires, the sound sharp in the still air. I cut the engine, and the silence settles heavy, almost expectant, the air thick with the scent of warm asphalt. Then I hear his voice inside, spilling through an open window, laughing carefree, cutting through the quiet. "Babe, I'm finally free." 2 weeks without the old hen. I freeze my hand on the doorknob, shock rooting me in place, my pulse hammering in my ears. Why is he here? And who's he talking to? I glance at the neighbor's yard where their dog barks wildly, its chain clinking a frantic echo of my racing thoughts. My excitement for Seattle sours, twisting into something sharp like a splinter under my skin. I stand there, the air humid, the faint smell of cut grass clinging to me, my breath uneven, wondering if I'm about to unravel everything I thought I knew. If this hits close to home, hit that subscribe button and tell me where you're watching from. Let's share this journey. My hand lingered on the doorknob, the cool metal grounding me as Nathan's voice carried from the living room, sharp and unguarded. I'm Celeste, 32, and I should have been halfway to the airport by now, but that forgotten passport had me standing here, heart thudding like a drum in my chest, each beat loud and uneven. I pushed the door open quietly, slipping into the hallway, the air thick with the scent of coffee and something sweet, maybe pastries, which was odd. Nathan never baked, never even touched the oven. His laughter rang out again, bright and careless, followed by words that made my stomach twist into a knot. "Yeah, Tara, it's like a vacation. Just me, no nagging." Tara. The name hit like a slap, unfamiliar, heavy with meaning I couldn't grasp. I edged toward the kitchen, my sneakers silent on the hardwood, the floor cool and slick under my soles. My passport sat on the counter next to a mug, its handle chipped. Not mine. Lipstick stained the rim, a bold pink I'd never wear, glaring under the kitchen light. My fingers brushed at the ceramic, warm, as if someone had just sipped from it, the touch sending a shiver up my arm. 5 years of marriage flashed through my mind. Nathan stirring pasta sauce in this kitchen, his hand brushing mine, warm and sure. Our late-night talks about kids, a future we'd build under starlit skies, his voice soft with promises. Was that all a lie? I crept closer to the living room, hiding behind the couch, its coarse fabric rough against my arm, the smell of dust faint but sharp. Nathan was sprawled on it, phone to his ear, oblivious, his voice low, conspiratorial, like he was sharing a secret meant to stay hidden. "Tara, you should come over tonight. We'll hit that new bar." My throat tightened, a lump I couldn't swallow, my breath caught in my chest. I wanted to scream, to demand who Tara was, but my feet felt glued to the floor, my body heavy with dread. My phone buzzed in my pocket, Hannah's name flashing urgent. "Where are you? Flight soon?" I ignored it, my eyes locked on that mug, its pink stain a silent accusation. Our neighbor, Mrs. Larson, appeared at her window across the yard, her silhouette sharp, peering out as if she sensed trouble, her gaze prickling my skin. I ducked lower, my breath shallow, my pulse loud in my ears. 5 years of trust, of shared mornings and quiet promises, now felt like a house of cards teetering. I thought of the time Nathan fixed our leaky sink, his hands steady, his laugh easy, a moment I'd held close. Now it felt hollow. My phone buzzed again, Hannah's impatience cutting through, sharp and insistent. "Answer me, Celeste." I clutched the passport, my knuckles white, the paper crinkling, and backed toward the door, my steps slow, deliberate. I wasn't ready to face him. Not yet. The neighbor's dog was still barking outside, a frantic sound that matched the chaos in my head, a wild rhythm I couldn't shake. I stepped into the kitchen again, staring at that mug, its stain mocking me. It wasn't just lipstick. It was proof something was wrong, a crack in the life I thought I had. My heart begged me to storm in, but my mind screamed to wait, to think, to breathe. I grabbed the passport and slipped out the door, clicking shut behind me, the sound final leaving me with a weight I couldn't name. I slid into my car, the passport clutched tight, my breath shallow, uneven. The neighbor's dog finally quieted, leaving only the hum of my engine and the faint buzz of a streetlight flickering on, casting jagged shadows across the dashboard. I'm Celeste, 32, and the weight of Nathan's words pressed against my chest like a stone cold and unyielding. Tara. That name kept circling, sharp and unfamiliar, like a splinter I couldn't pull out, digging deeper with every thought. I pulled out my phone, ignoring Hannah's texts piling up, each one a jab. I opened Nathan's social media, my fingers trembling, the screen cold under my touch. His profile was public, careless, a window into a life I thought I knew, now foreign. Scrolling, I found her. Tara. A co-worker from his firm, her profile a collage of bar photos, late-night posts, her smile too bright, too confident. She'd liked every one of Nathan's updates for months, her comments bold, flirty, each one a pinprick. Looks like fun. Nate, save me a drink. My stomach churned, a cold knot tightening, nausea rising. I remembered him mentioning her once casually at dinner, his eyes fixed on his plate as he said, "Just a colleague," his voice too even. I'd believed him, no questions asked, trusting like always. Now each like felt like a breadcrumb leading to a truth I wasn't ready for, a path I didn't want to walk. My phone buzzed again, Hannah's name insistent, her texts sharp. "You're gonna miss your flight. What's going on?" I answered, my voice low, barely steady, the words heavy. "I'm fine, just delayed." I lied, cutting her off before she could push her concern, a weight I couldn't carry now. I started driving, this road blurring as my mind raced, streetlights streaking past like comets. Had Nathan been lying for weeks, months? I thought of our last anniversary, how he'd surprised me with a weekend at a cabin, his arms warm around me as we watched the stars, his whisper promising a future together, a family, a home. Was that real? Or was he already planning nights with Tara, laughing behind my back? I pulled into a gas station, the fluorescent lights harsh against the dusk, casting long shadows across the lot, the air thick with the smell of gasoline. Inside, I bought a coffee. The cashier's small talk about the weather fading into noise, her voice distant. My hands shook as I stirred in sugar, the spoon clinking too loud against the cup, the sound jarring. Back in the car, I checked my texts. Nathan had sent one hours ago. Heading to the office late. Don't wait up. I stared at it, my thumb hovering over his name, the lie glaring bold as daylight. The office. Right. I opened his location app, a habit from when we'd share our whereabouts for safety. Back when trust was a given, not a question. His dot blinked, not at his firm, but at a bar downtown, the same one Tara had tagged in her posts, its neon sign flashing in her photos, bright and mocking. My heart sank deeper, a cold certainty settling in, heavy as lead. I wasn't imagining this. Something was wrong, and it wasn't just a phone call. I tossed the coffee untouched into a trash can, the bitter smell lingering on my hands. Gripping the steering wheel, I felt the road stretch ahead, the airport waiting its pull, distant. But so was the truth, sharp and unavoidable. I needed to know more before I faced him. A car honked nearby, snapping me back, its sound cutting through the fog in my head. I drove on, my doubt heavier with every mile, pulling me toward a confrontation I wasn't sure I could handle, the weight of it pressing me into the seat. I passed a billboard for a local diner, its bright colors faded, and remembered Nathan's promise to take me there for pancakes, a plan we never kept. The memory stung, small but sharp. I'm Celeste, 32, staring out the plane window as the Ohio skyline fades, the clouds swallowing the last of home, their edges soft but heavy. The hum of the engines can't drown out Nathan's text, still burning in my mind, a lie pinned to that bar's location dot, glowing like a betrayal. My fingers grip the armrest, the plastic cool and hard, replaying his voice, smooth and careless, each word a cut. Tara, you should come over tonight. I pull out my phone, scrolling through his posts again, each one a wound, my thumb moving on instinct. Tara's comments are relentless, each one a needle piercing deeper her words, casual but sharp. Great shot, Nate. When's our next happy hour? I feel sick, the cabin air stale against my skin, the recycled hum pressing in. 5 years of marriage, and I'm piecing together a puzzle I never wanted to solve, each piece jagged. I think of our lazy Sundays, his hand in mine at the farmer's market, promising we'd name our kid after his mom, Margaret, his voice warm, certain. Was he playing me even then? I land in Seattle. The airport buzzing with voices, families reuniting their laughter, a contrast to my silence. My suitcase drags behind me like an anchor, its wheels catching on the tiles, the sound grating. In my hotel room, the bed creaks as I sit, the city's glow filtering through thin curtains, casting faint shadows on the wall. I call Jill, my best friend, her number. A reflex, my fingers shaky. Her voice is steady, but her words cut sharp and urgent. You need to confront him, Celeste. This isn't you. I pace the carpet rough under my bare feet, the room smelling faintly of bleach, clinical and cold. I can't, not yet. I say, my voice cracking raw, the words scraping out. I'm not ready to hear him lie again. She pushes, tells me to check his emails. Her tone sharp with urgency, but I hang up my chest tight, my breath uneven. I open my laptop, staring at our old photos, a folder I hadn't touched in months, each click a wound reopened. There's one from a county fair. Nathan's arm around me, his grin wide under a cheap cowboy hat, the Ferris wheel bright behind us, its lights blurring in the dusk. I loved that day, the sticky sweetness of cotton candy on my fingers, his laugh warm in my ear. Now it feels like a prop in someone else's story, a scene I misread. My phone lights up with a work email, a reminder about tomorrow's meeting, but I ignore it, the words meaningless. Instead, I dig deeper into Tara's profile, her life spilling out in curated squares, each one a taunt. She's posted a story, a blurry clip of her laughing at that bar, the one Nathan's at, glasses clinking in the background, the sound sharp. I freeze, straining to hear the noise, searching for his voice, my heart pounding. Is that him? I can't tell, but my hands shake as I close the app, her laughter echoing in my head, a sound I can't unhear. At the team dinner, the restaurant loud with chatter plates clinking, Marcus, my coworker, notices my silence across the table, his brow furrowed. You okay, Celeste? You look like you've seen a ghost. I force a smile, muttering about jet lag, my voice thin, but his eyes linger, kind but piercing, seeing through my mask. I excuse myself, stepping outside into the Seattle drizzle, the air cool and damp, clinging to my skin. The cold bites, but it's nothing compared to the anger simmering inside, a slow burn. I can't outrun a fire growing with every lie I uncover. I think of a coworker's wedding we attended, Nathan's hand in mine, his toast to love so sincere I cried. Now it feels like a lie I swallowed whole. Nathan's lies are stacking up, and I'm starting to see the man I married in a new, ugly light, his face unfamiliar in my memory. I'm Celeste, 32. Standing in the Seattle rain, my jacket soaked through the city's hum, distant, under the steady patter of drops on the pavement. Marcus's question lingers heavy, but I wave it off, heading back to my hotel, my shoes squelching the wet leather cold against my feet. Alone, I sit on the stiff bed, the hum of the city outside mocking my silence, the room's walls too close, the air heavy with the scent of damp fabric. I open my laptop again, driven by a need I can't name, my fingers trembling as I log into Nathan's email, a careless habit from sharing our old desktop back when trust was easy, unquestioned. I hesitate, my cursor hovering the screen's glow harsh in the dim room, then search Tara's name, my breath held. Dozens of messages pop up, casual at first, then intimate, each one a blade slicing deeper. Drinks after work. Miss you already. My breath catches sharp and painful, a gasp I can't stifle. I read one from last week. Nathan's words, cold and clear, calculated. She's gone for 2 weeks. We're good. My hands tremble, the screen blurring as tears threaten, hot and heavy. I think of our first date, how he'd fumbled with his keys outside the restaurant, nervous, charming, his smile making me feel safe, like I'd found home. Was that an act? I find a photo in his cloud, him and Tara at a work event. Her hand resting on his arm, his smile too warm, too familiar, the background a blur of corporate banners. My chest aches like something's cracking inside a fault line. I can't mend the pain raw and jagged. I call Jill again, my voice barely a whisper, shaking the phone cold against my ear. He's been lying, I say the words, scraping out each one a wound. She's quiet, then firm, her voice a lifeline across the distance. You deserve better. But better feels impossible when every memory feels tainted like a painting I loved now streaked with mud, unrecognizable. I scroll through our texts, finding one from our anniversary, his words simple, deceptive. Love you forever. See, I'd believed it, framed it in my heart, hung it like a treasure. Now I see Tara's replies to his posts, each one a knife twisting deeper, relentless. Wish I was there, Nate. My phone pings with a new message from Nathan, the screen lighting up. How's Seattle, miss you? The lie burns bright and cruel, a spark in the dark. I want to reply, to scream, to demand answers, but my fingers freeze, my pulse loud in my ears, a drumbeat of betrayal. Instead, I walk to the hotel mirror, staring at my reflection, the fluorescent light harsh, unforgiving. My eyes are hollow, my jaw tight, a stranger staring back, someone I don't know. Who am I if I let this go? At the team meeting next morning, the conference room smells of stale coffee and printer ink, and Marcus asks again if I'm okay. His voice low over the hum of presentations, his concern gentle but intrusive. I nod, but my voice shakes, betraying me, thin and unsteady. He hands me a coffee, his kindness stinging like salt in a cut too much to bear. I'm unraveling, and Nathan's at that bar laughing free while I'm here piecing together the wreckage of us. I think of the time we painted our living room, Nathan's laughter, as we splattered blue on each other, a memory I thought was ours alone. Now it's tainted. The weight of his betrayal settles deeper, and I know I can't keep pretending. Something has to break, and I'm afraid it's me. I'm Celeste, 32, stepping off the plane back in Ohio, my suitcase heavier than when I left, its wheels catching on the tarmac, the sound grating. The Seattle trip ended early. A canceled meeting giving me an excuse to come home unannounced, my decision impulsive but deliberate, driven by a need to see the truth for myself. It's late, the airport nearly empty, the air thick with the smell of rain and jet fuel sharp in my lungs. I drive home, the roads slick with drizzle, the house dark except for a faint glow from our bedroom window, a beacon I don't trust, its light unsteady. My heart pounds as I unlock the door, quiet as a thief, the key cold in my hand, my fingers trembling. Nathan's asleep, sprawled across the bed. His breathing steady, the sheets tangled around his legs, a picture of calm I can't reconcile. His phone glows on the nightstand, a silent traitor, its light casting shadows across the room. I shouldn't, but I pick it up, his passcode unchanged since we met, a relic of trust now bitter. My fingers tremble as I open his messages, the screen's light harsh in the dark, cutting through the silence. Tara's name fills the screen text from last night, flirty and raw, each one a blow to my chest. Had a blast, Nate. Same time tomorrow. I scroll, my breath shallow, each word a punch to my gut, relentless. Then I see it, a photo they sent each other, them at that bar. Her lips close to his ear, his grin wide, unguarded, the neon lights behind them glaring. My knees buckle and I sit on the edge of the bed, the mattress creaking under me, the sound too loud in the quiet jarring. Our wedding vows echo in my head, his voice promising forever in that tiny chapel, the memory now sour like fruit gone bad. I open his voicemail, my hands shaking so hard I nearly drop the phone, my fingers clumsy. Tara's voice spills out low and teasing, a blade in the dark, sharp and cold. Missed you last night, Nate. Dodging the old hen was worth it. My breath stops the room, spinning the air thick with the scent of his cologne, the one I bought him last Christmas, a gift that feels like a mockery now. I clutch the phone, staring at Nathan's sleeping face, peaceful, like he's done nothing wrong, his calm a knife twisting deeper. My mother's call comes through, her name flashing, her voice a faint worry through the speaker, urgent. I silence it, my thumb trembling, my heart racing. Her own divorce haunts me, her warnings about trusting too much ringing loud, a lesson I ignored now screaming in my head. I want to shake him awake, scream, demand answers, but I'm frozen, the truth too heavy, like a storm breaking inside me, wild and uncontrollable. Every moment we shared, every touch, every plan feels like a lie, and I'm drowning in it, the room closing in, the walls pressing tight. I think of the night we stayed up planning a trip to Italy, his excitement so real I could feel it. Now it's a ghost. I'm Celeste, 32, still clutching Nathan's phone, my heart a bruised thing in my chest, aching with every beat. I swipe to his email, desperate for more, my pulse loud in my ears, a relentless drum. A thread buried in his trash folder catches my eye. Tara's name bold in the subject line, glaring. I open it, her words sharp, taunting, each one a fresh cut. You're right, she's clueless. Let's make the most of her trip. My vision blurs, tears hot against my cheeks, the screen a haze I can't blink away. I dig deeper, finding a note in his wallet tucked behind a gas receipt, the paper creased and worn as if he'd carried it for days. Red ink, her handwriting, casual and cruel. Can't wait for round 2, Nate. The paper trembles in my hand, a cheap betrayal scrawled so carelessly, it stings worse, a wound that won't close. I think of our mornings, me brewing coffee while he read the news, our quiet rhythm, a ritual I cherished, now shattered into pieces I can't fit back together, the shards sharp. My phone vibrates again, my mother's voice breaking through, soft but insistent, her worry a thread to her own past. Celeste, what's wrong? You sound off. I can't speak, her own broken marriage echoing in her concern, a mirror. I don't want to face its reflection, too raw. I open Tara's social media, my fingers moving on their own, driven by a need to know, and there it is, a post from tonight. Her at a club, the lights dim, her captions smug cutting. Free at last with my favorite guy. Nathan's tagged his profile picture, grinning back, the same smile I once thought was mine, now stolen. My stomach lurches, a wave of nausea I can't shake, rising fast. I stumble to the bathroom, splashing water on my face. The cold shock doing nothing to dull the pain, the faucet dripping slowly, each drop a beat in the silence. The mirror shows a stranger, eyes red, trust gone. My reflection unfamiliar, a woman I don't recognize. I think of our plans, the house we wanted to buy, the kids we named in whispers late at night. Their names now ashes in my mouth. All lies. The house is silent except for Nathan's soft snores, each one a mockery, a reminder of his ease while I'm breaking apart. I want to scream, to shatter something, anything, but I'm paralyzed, the weight of his deceit crushing me heavy as the darkness around me. My mother's voice loops in my head. Her divorce a warning, I ignored her pain, now mine, a legacy I didn't want. I'm standing at the edge of everything I thought I knew, and it's crumbling, the ground unsteady beneath me. There's no air left, just the raw, jagged truth, and I'm not sure I can face what comes next. I think of the day we adopted our first plant, a fern we named Lucky, now wilting in a corner, forgotten. I'm Celeste, 32, sitting in my car outside a coffee shop, the dawn light pale against the windshield, the air heavy with the scent of rain-soaked asphalt, cool and sharp. Nathan's phone is locked away in my purse, its secrets heavy as stones, each one a weight I can't unfeel pressing against my ribs. Last night's truth, his betrayal with Tara, still burns, but I'm done being paralyzed, done letting it hold me. I walk inside, the smell of espresso sharp, the hum of early customers, soft their voices, a low murmur. I spot Hannah at a corner table, her eyes narrowing as I sit, her coffee untouched, steam curling in the air. I slide the phone across, showing her the texts, the note my hands steady, despite the ache that lingers. She reads, her jaw tight, her silence loud, her fingers gripping the mug. He's trash, Celeste. You don't deserve this. I nod, my throat thick, but something shifts inside me, a spark catching a fire starting to burn. I tell her I'm done waiting, done, hoping he'll change, my voice low but firm. She grabs her laptop, pulling up divorce attorneys nearby, her fingers quick, decisive. You need someone good, she says, scrolling through reviews, her voice firm but kind, a steady anchor. I take notes, my pen steady. Despite the ache in my chest, the paper crinkling under my grip, each word a step forward. I think of our old promises Sunday. Hikes a dog, we'd adopt a life we planned in quiet moments over coffee, and feel a spark of anger not at him, but at myself for believing so blindly, for ignoring the cracks. Back in the car, I screenshot his messages, saving them to my cloud, each click a small act of defiance, a line drawn. My phone pings. It's my father, Greg, texting after years of silence. His words tentative, careful. Heard you're struggling. Can we talk? I stare, my fingers hovering the screen cold under my touch. His message a ghost from a past I'd buried. His absence shaped my trust in men like Nathan, a wound I hadn't faced, raw and tender. I don't reply, not yet. The memory of his leaving still sharp a cut. I'm not ready to touch. I drive to Hannah's apartment. Her spare room, a temporary haven, the walls bare but safe, the air smelling of lavender from a candle she lit. She hands me tea, the mug warm, grounding her voice soft but firm. You're stronger than this, Celeste. I nod, feeling the first stirrings of resolve like a tide turning inside me, steady and sure. I open my laptop, searching for lawyers, my heart racing with purpose, the screen's glow a beacon in the dim room. I'm not just running anymore. I'm choosing me, and it feels like waking up. I think of the time Nathan taught me to drive stick shift, his patience a lie I clung to, now fading. I'm Celeste, 32, sitting on Hannah's couch, my laptop screen glowing with a lawyer's contact page, the room quiet, except for the hum of her fridge and the faint tick of a clock. My hands are steady now, the tea cold beside me, its steam long gone, the mug's weight a comfort. I book a consultation with Patricia, a divorce attorney. Hannah swears by her voice echoing in my head, strong and certain. You've got this. I pull out a notebook, one I used to jot down grocery lists with Nathan, its pages worn from shared plans, now a relic of a life I'm leaving. I start listing evidence, the texts, Tara's note, his location, lies, each word a brick in a wall I'm building around myself, a shield I didn't know I needed. Each entry feels like reclaiming a piece of myself, a step away from the woman who trusted too much, who ignored the signs. I think of our last Christmas. Nathan hanging lights while I laughed, unaware of his secrets. The glow of the tree casting shadows. I didn't see the memory now, bitter. That Celeste feels distant now, like a stranger I pity, soft and naive. I called Jill, her voice a lifeline across the miles, warm but fierce. I'm doing it, I say, my voice steady, clear. I'm leaving him. She cheers loud and fierce, her excitement a spark. But I feel quiet strength, not victory, a fire kindling inside, steady and warm. Back home, I wait until Nathan's at work, then slip inside the house feeling foreign, our shared life, a ghost in every corner, the air heavy with his aftershave, a scent I once loved, now sour. I find my old journal under the bed, its cover dusty pages filled with dreams of our future trips. We'd take a porch swing, we'd share quiet nights we'd promised. I read one entry aloud, my voice steady, unbroken, the words heavy but sure. You promised me forever, Nathan. I tear out the page, folding it into my pocket, its weight a reminder of what I'm leaving, a choice I'm making. At dusk, I confront him in our kitchen, the light dim, casting long shadows. His face pale as I lay out the evidence, my voice calm but unyielding, each word deliberate. It was nothing, Celeste, just talk, he stammers, his eyes darting, betraying him, his voice weak. I don't yell. I don't cry. You don't get to rewrite this, I say, my voice low, final, cutting through his excuses like a blade. He reaches for me, his hand hesitant, shaking, but I step back, the journal page, heavy in my pocket, a shield against his words. I walk out the door, closing softly behind me. The sound final, my resolve, a quiet fire burning steady, unshakable. I'm not his anymore. I think of the night we danced in our living room. No music, just us swaying, a moment I thought was forever. Now it's dust. I'm Celeste, 32, sitting in Patricia's office. The divorce attorney's desk, cluttered with papers, the air sharp with the scent of ink and old wood. The room small but steady. My confrontation with Nathan last night left my voice raw, but my resolve intact, a steel I didn't know I had forged in pain. Patricia's calm, her pen scratching. As she outlines the process, her glasses slipping down her nose, her voice measured. He might fight the terms, she warns, her eyes steady, professional but kind. A guide in the chaos. I nod, my hands folded tight, my nails digging into my palms, thinking of the bouquet Nathan sent this morning, roses with a card. The petals too perfect, too late, their red stark against Hannah's doorstep. Please, let's talk. I left them there unopened, their scent cloying in my memory, a gesture too small for the hurt. Driving to my new apartment, a cramped studio with bare walls and a single window overlooking a noisy street, I feel the weight of my choice, heavy but right, a step I can't take back. I unpack a box, finding a letter I wrote at 22 full of hopes for a marriage that would last, my handwriting loopy and naive, the paper yellowed at the edges. My chest tightens, but I don't cry, the paper creasing under my fingers as I set it aside. My phone lights up with a text from Nathan, his words desperate. "You're making a mistake, Celeste." I block him, my fingers steady the action, final. A door closing. At work, I overhear Tara's name in a colleague's chat, her apology post online now deleted, as if she could erase her part in this. My stomach twists, but I keep moving, stacking dishes in my tiny sink, the clink grounding me a rhythm I control, steady and sure. Jill calls, her voice tense, urgent, her words rushing. "Nathan's telling people you overreacted." I laugh bitter, the sound foreign in my throat, sharp and hollow. I think of my coworker Sarah, who stopped me in the break room today, her voice low, hesitant. "I heard about Nathan. You okay?" Her pity stung, a reminder of the story spreading, but I nodded, keeping my walls up, my smile tight. The world feels sharper now, every choice a cut, every glance a reminder of the narrative Nathan's spinning, painting me as the one who broke. I'm not that Celeste anymore, but the shift hurts like stretching a muscle too long, still the ache deep but bearable. I think of the day we carved pumpkins. Nathan's grin as seeds stuck to his hands, a joy I thought was real. I'm Celeste, 32, standing in my studio apartment, the sink dripping softly as I stare at a photo of Nathan and me taped to a box, its edges curling. It's from a camping trip, his arms slung over my shoulder, both of us sunburned and smiling, the lake glinting behind us, its surface calm. I rip it in half, the sound sharp in the quiet, the pieces fluttering to the floor like fallen leaves. My phone buzzes, Hannah this time, her voice clipped over the line, urgent. Jill's mad. "You didn't tell her about the lawyer." I sigh, the rift between them, a new ache, a fracture. I didn't expect their tension pulling at me. I don't need their fight right now, not when I'm holding myself together with thread, my edges fraying. At the grocery store, I spot a coworker, Marcus, in the cereal aisle, his cart half full, his posture casual. He nods, but his eyes slide away like he's heard Nathan's version of me, crazy overreacting Celeste, the woman who couldn't let go. My cart wobbles as I push past, grabbing oatmeal. I won't eat, the weight of judgment, heavy a shadow. I can't shake. Back home, I find Nathan's old sweatshirt in a box, the fabric soft from years of wear, smelling faintly of his laundry soap, a scent that once felt like home. I almost keep it, a reflex of nostalgia, my fingers lingering, then toss it in the trash, the lid clanging shut, the sound final. My phone pings again, a notification from Tara's blog, a vague post about moving on from mistakes, no mention of me, just deflection, her words, slick and empty. My jaw tightens, my teeth, grinding, a spark of anger flaring. I meet Patricia again, her office cool and sterile, the air sharp with antiseptic, the hum of a fan steady in the background. She shows me papers Nathan's lawyer sent, claiming I rushed to judgment, his words twisting my truth, painting me as impulsive. I laugh cold and sign my name, the pen heavy, the ink bold, my signature a line drawn. At night I sit on my balcony, the city humming below, lights flickering like distant promises, the air cool against my skin. A neighbor's laughter drifts up carefree, and I feel hollow, like I've lost more than Nathan. I've lost who I was with him, the woman who believed in forever, who trusted without question. The stars are faint, and I'm left with the weight of my own choices sinking deep, a quiet ache I carry alone, heavy but mine. I remember the night we watched a meteor shower, Nathan's arm around me, a moment I thought was ours. I'm Celeste, 32, walking through a park near my apartment, the grass damp under my sneakers, the air fresh with the scent of rain and cut leaves cool and grounding. For the first time in weeks, my shoulders feel lighter, unburdened, as if I've shed a heavy coat, the weight slipping away. I pass a bench where an old man feeds pigeons, their soft coos oddly soothing their wings, catching the light, a gentle rhythm. I've been running from Nathan's betrayal, but today I just walk my pace, slow, deliberate, the ground steady beneath me. At a small pond, I sit watching ripples spread from a tossed pebble, the water catching the sky's fading blue, its surface calm but alive. I think of my childhood summers with my dad before he left, his laughter rare but warm, his hands teaching me to skip stones across a lake like this one. The memory stings, but it's softer now, less sharp. I pull out my phone, Greg's text still unanswered, his words tentative, a bridge offered. I type, "Let's meet soon," and hit send, my chest loosening a knot, untying the action, small but heavy. Later I wander into a bookstore, the kind with creaky floors and dusty shelves, the air thick with the smell of old pages and worn leather. A woman, Audrey, greets me, her smile easy, her glasses slipping down her nose, her warmth unexpected. She runs a book club here, and I join on impulse, craving something new, a thread to hold on to, a step away from the past. We talk about a novel, its heroine rebuilding after loss, her strength, quiet but fierce, her story, a mirror. I feel a spark of recognition, a flicker of myself in her resilience, a light I hadn't seen before. My anger's still there, but it's quieter now, like a tide pulling back, leaving space for something new, a calm I'm learning to trust. I think of a summer picnic with my mom, her stories of strength a lesson. I'm only now understanding. I'm Celeste, 32, sitting in the bookstore's dim light, the book club winding down, the air warm with shared stories, the faint scent of coffee lingering. Audrey shares her story, her voice low, about a partner who broke her trust years ago, leaving her to rebuild alone, her words steady but heavy. Her words land soft like they're meant for me, her eyes kind but knowing, seeing my own cracks. I nod my fingers, tracing the spine of the novel we discussed, its pages worn from use, the story of a woman who rose from ruin. I see myself in its pages not as a victim, but as someone rebuilding brick by brick, steady and sure. Driving home, I pass a diner where Nathan and I used to share late-night fries, the neon sign flickering, its buzz faint. But I don't ache, not like before, the memory distant. I stop at a red light, pulling out a notebook, its cover faded, the edges soft. I write a letter to Nathan, not to send, but to free myself, the pen moving smoothly. Your betrayal cut deep, but I'm more than your lies. I write my words steady, a release I didn't expect. At my apartment, I meet Greg for coffee, his gray hair thinner than I remember, his hands fidgeting with a napkin, his eyes avoiding mine. He apologizes for leaving when I was a kid, his voice shaky, raw, the words heavy with years. I listen, not forgiving yet, but letting the weight lift a burden I don't need to carry, a choice to let go. I walk to my balcony, the city quiet below, the air cool with a hint of jasmine, sweet and fleeting. I breathe slow, feeling whole, not healed but steady, my heart calm, grounded. I fold the letter, tucking it away in a drawer, its purpose served, and watch the horizon, the sky soft with dusk, ready for what's next, a new day waiting. I think of a childhood memory, catching fireflies with Greg, their glow fleeting but bright, a light I'm finding again. I'm Celeste, 32, sitting in my studio apartment, the morning light filtering through a cracked blind, casting slanted shadows across the floor, soft and uneven. 6 months have passed since I signed the divorce papers. The ink now a faint memory, the process a blur of signatures and quiet resolve, each one a step away from Nathan. My new place is small, but mine with a thrift store lamp casting a warm glow, its cord frayed but functional, a quiet companion. I sip coffee from a chipped mug. My routine now a quiet ritual, the ceramic cool against my lips, the taste grounding. The city hums outside to steady pulse, but I'm learning to find peace in its rhythm, like a song I'm starting to know its notes familiar. I've started a blog, typing my story late at night, words spilling out about betrayal, and rebuilding my fingers, finding truth in the dark. The keyboards click a steady beat. Strangers comment sharing their own scars, their words raw and honest, a thread connecting us across miles. I feel less alone, woven into a world beyond my pain, their stories a mirror to my own. Today I meet Nathan at a cafe to return his last box of things, old books, and a watch he loved, its face scratched from wear, a relic of a life we shared. He's quieter now, his eyes tired lines deeper around his mouth, his posture slouched. "I'm sorry, Celeste," he says, voice low, almost lost in the clink of cups around us, the air thick with the smell of pastries. I nod, not for him, but for me, a gesture of closure, not forgiveness, my heart steady. I walk away, the box gone, my steps light on the uneven pavement, the air cool against my skin. At home, I water a tiny cactus on my windowsill, its stubborn green a small victory thriving. Despite neglect, a quiet resilience. I think of my mother's advice, her voice soft over the phone last week, urging me to let go, her words, a gentle push. I'm not whole yet, but I'm building something real piece by piece, a life that's mine, shaped by my hands. I remember a day at the beach with Hannah, her laughter, as we dodged waves, a joy I'm starting to reclaim. I'm Celeste, 32, standing in the park near my apartment, the late afternoon sun warming my face, the air soft with the scent of blooming flowers, sweet and fleeting. I hold a small trinket, a smooth stone I found here months ago, its weight grounding me cool and solid in my palm, its surface worn by time. I think of the nights I spent questioning my worth. Nathan's betrayal, a shadow. I carried heavy and cold, a weight that pressed me down. But now I see it differently. His lies didn't break me. They showed me my strength, a fire I didn't know I had, burning quiet, but fierce. I visit Audrey at the bookstore, her laughter bright as we shelve novels together, the shelves creaking under our hands, the air rich with the smell of paper and dust. My blog grows readers' stories, weaving into mine a tapestry of survival, their words a mirror to my own, raw and true. I realize healing isn't about forgetting. It's about choosing yourself every day, even when it's hard, even when the past whispers doubts in the quiet. I forgive Nathan not to free him, but to free me, to let go of the anger that chained me, to step into a life that's mine. The stone rests in my palm, a reminder I'm enough, that I've always been enough. Its weight a quiet anchor. I frame it, hanging it above my desk, a silent promise to keep going, to build something new. What moment made you realize your own strength? Share it below. Your story matters. If this resonated, please like, subscribe, or share to connect with others on this journey. Thank you for listening, and here's to finding your light.